Welcome, Sagittarius, your Jupiter in Cancer. No more blockages. Deep dive video. If we go back to when Jupiter, your ruler, moved into the water sign of Cancer on the 9th of June 2025, many trumpeted that the most amazing, fortunate year was ahead because of Jupiter's exaltation in the sign. I cautioned at the time against that. Ever since then, there's been so many people who've shared frustration on my comments in YouTube about Jupiter in Cancer. I'm going to take you back to when Jupiter first arrived and explain why that event chart was so testing, but also fast forwards to now and show why the rest of June can be so very positive. By the end of the video, you have a clear picture of what you can expect in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. So on the screen, Sagittarius, is your event chart. And there's Jupiter, and Jupiter's met by Mercury. Jupiter can be about trade, Mercury can be about marketing. The pair of them together in the eighth house can be very good for business people. So if you have been trying to do something entrepreneurial since last year, the chances are you may have had some success. But if we look at the role of Saturn and Neptune in a conjunction in your fifth house, in your fellow fire sign of Aries, well, Saturn's in its four, and Neptune here, very hot and arid, but the fifth house is about risk and speculation, and Saturn is very anti-risk. And they were in an exact square with Jupiter and Mercury. First up, Saturn. Saturn, it's very much to do with time. It's very much to do with karma, but it can be to do with limitation. Your ruler Jupiter is very much to do with expansion, but Jupiter rules two zodiac signs. And I think the archetype of Jupiter for most people is the very Sagittarius one, about being bold, optimistic, happy-go-lucky, and just really believing that if you think it good, it's going to come good. But Jupiter also rules the water sign of Pisces, where it's much more to do with faith. And being a water sign in Cancer, that's very much to do with being protective. It's about making sure that our inner world, home, emotion, and family is not in any way threatened by doing things that are a bit too risky. So, though these two may have been very good to crunch the numbers and think speculatively, Saturn certainly was saying slow things down and may have created almost a sense of driving with the handbrake on when it comes to trying to improve your long-term finances, the eighth house. Or there may have been challenges around an intimate relationship where what you've wanted hasn't aligned in some way or another with the other person. Also, Neptune in a conjunction with Saturn can be a very draining influence, and it's linked to Mercury, one that can see words get confused, messages mixed. And with Neptune and Jupiter, perhaps our expectations are way too high of what's possible. So when it comes to making progress around that long-term finance, that property matter, marshalling, insurance, deeds, investments, you may have made progress, but probably more in a lower risk way. Also, Venus, the planet of money, although in a beautiful sextile with Jupiter and Mercury, was challenged by Pluto in your third house. So there may have been a lot of mental energy that you were trying to process, or perhaps trying to enthuse someone close to you, Venus, a relating planet too, about your ideas. Whether that was heard or not is another matter. But you probably have still tried to be bold because Mars, the planet of desire, was right at the top of your chart in the sign of Leo, which shares your fire triplicity. And here, very much to do with expansion, picking up on that more Sagittarian Jupiterian vibe, but guess what? In a square with Uranus. So there may have been a lot of electric energy, but at times a lot of headaches over the last year. particularly if things weren't going at the pace you wanted, and that may have created quite seriously some hard stress. So, also let's look at the position of the moon. It was in your zodiac sign in an opposition to Uranus. So, a relationship, professional or personal, may have been a bit unpredictable, which has impacted on how you've been feeling in yourself too. So we can see, if we just talk about Jupiter in its exaltation in the nurturing Cancer, which is a cardinal sign, so it can be very much to do with leadership. Yes, potential, particularly with Mercury in the mix and in that sextile to Venus, but not without some hardcore frustrations. Let's come through to the 9th of June 2026. Amazing, the synchronicity. The exact same day that Jupiter moved into Cancer, Jupiter and Venus come into the exact conjunction. Now, if it wasn't in the sign of Cancer, much greater chance for neat fortune. What we might do is enjoy a close connection to someone within our family, or it could be in a more entrepreneurial sense that there is an investor that's interested in us, and the signs could be looking very positive. Look at Mercury. It's in a square with Saturn, just like it was at the beginning. So even now, if you're wanting to push forwards at pace, there is some resistance that's showing up. It's just that in a much more productive way, Mars in the sixth house is giving you more stamina and is linking well to Mercury. So if your determination and grit are in place, the chances are you can still inspire whoever you're talking to. It may be that there is someone that you're getting more intimately close to, and it is feeling good. The position of the moon and Neptune does point towards the potential for a magical connection romantically. But Saturn is also in that fifth house, which remember can be about love, but also risk, and is in that square with Mercury. But no doubt the moon and Neptune link back to Pluto, which links brilliantly to Uranus in your seventh house of relating. So I think generally things are definitely looking up around relationships, possibly around those long-term finances too. After all the struggle of the last year, which I think has probably happened, as I mentioned, not without some progress, but just slower than you would have liked. But let's go through to the 28th of June. So we're getting near to the end of Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. It moves on the 30th into Leo, but it's forging on the 28th a delicious link with Mercury. So it started the journey in a conjunction with Mercury. It ends the journey with a conjunction with Mercury. But this time, Mars is the superpower. And it's a superpower in a very energetic part of your chart. And that's really giving you a lot more conviction. When Mars and Jupiter align, things seem to work out as far as timing. Things fall into place. If you've got a message you want to pump across, you can do so with an awful lot of enthusiasm. Mars right on that seventh house cusp. That's fabulous. Also, the moon in your zodiac sign, again, the synchronicity is just delicious in a wonderful link with Venus, and also they're both linking to Saturn. So, what we have is where you're taking the initiative, where you're being bold, especially in terms of your social or love life, but also where you may actually get something that's solid and sustainable. Saturn actually comes back to you in a much more productive way. Is there anything not to like? Well, the sun is in a square with Neptune. We can't have it all. If there is someone you really fancy, just keep your feet on the ground. I'm going to summarize those four areas of vitality, work, relationships, and finances next, Sagittarius. But just to say, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. They were for many years buy two, get 30% off. Because of the cost of living increases, I've reduced it now to buy one and get three. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, really crucial, helps us to understand the patterns that play out and how to work with that energy better future forwards. Free, your 12 months transit forecast, but also your soul karmic analysis. your draconic analysis, which helps us to look at life, astrology, and ourselves in a very different but profound way. Please see the link below for more. If you've yet to watch your June monthly forecast, it's on the screen. If you've yet to watch your Chiron 50-year return forecast on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. If you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, please do sign up for that and get your early day celestial pit stop fired to your device. So to summarize, as far as energy has been concerned, if we go right back to the beginning, you did have Uranus initially in that sixth house. So I feel at times things have been very unpredictable. There's been a lot of demands. There's probably a desire on your part to be daring. But then if you try to go too quick, it's just left you feeling really maybe a bit discombobulated. Is that the word? Just things have been very difficult to get into any rhythm. And that may have had an impact on your vitality. However, also at the start of the process with Neptune and Saturn in a conjunction, if you've been doing too much socializing, that too may have been a bit of a drain. But I think as you end this journey with having Mars in that sixth house of vitality, you should be starting to feel a lot better. And of course, Chiron's moved into your sector of healing. So if there is something long term that's been inhibiting you, you get an opportunity over the next 3 months to address that. As far as your professional situation, Mars was really at the top of your chart when you began this journey, pushing you to be very daring and adventurous, obviously core attributes of your nature. But that's square to Uranus, I think, suggests you may have encountered people that are unpredictable. Things may have been a little bit dislocated at times. Getting into a pattern and a rhythm may have been elusive. But what you have perhaps achieved, as far as your professional situation is concerned, is an improvement in your finances, but probably not so much when you've been going about things in a more speculative way, so your personal finances. But if you have been applying the wisdom of Saturn for those, chances are you are really seeing a shift going on. Everyone's feeling that cost of living increase, but you can still navigate that very skillfully, I feel. As far as relationships are concerned, I've got to share with you the last chart because Mars is just about to move later on the 28th of June into the sign of Gemini, and it will link with Uranus over the last few days of the month. Don't be surprised if you have a sudden and amazing attraction to someone completely new as this month draws to a close. As far as an existing relationship is concerned, if you are at ease with someone, particularly around sharing the financial side of things and intimacy, I think that relationship will have been mainly fine. If, however, getting close to someone and getting that more nurturing energy going and also having that flame of passion, that may have been a challenge around certain relationships you've experienced over the last year. But the chance for something much more exciting really shows up as June comes to a close. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Sagittarius. Look forward to seeing you again soon, and all the best for now.